What's up, guys? Got some new toys to check out today. Some of you guys may have already seen our Facebook post and already know what this is, but some of you may already recognize the box. But to get right into it, it's the Tactical Game Innovations launchable 40mm grenade system. And I got this through the guys at Airsoft Pyrotechnics. They got a Facebook website, just airsoftpyrotechnics.com, or type the same thing on Facebook and you'll find them. They're selling and distributing pretty much all of Tactical Game Innovation stuff nowadays. They have this launchable 40mm line. They got some hand grenades, some paintball-based stuff, and a whole bunch of other stuff that you can check out on the website there. But this stuff that we got here is the 40mm grenade system. And what I'll do is I'll grab the shell out first for you. There's the shell itself, just like any other 40mm shell, with the exception of what you see right there, being that it's got rifling on the inside. And I'll show you in a second the projectiles themselves, or the 40mm themselves. You'll see that that is definitely a key point in what makes these things so awesome, for lack of a better word. A little quick size comparison. This is one of the little standard paintball type shells that we use to launch the Nerf footballs. And same diameter and everything. The only difference being that this extra bit of length, and I'll go into that a little bit later, with a little bit of difficulty that poses with loading and unloading, but it's not a big deal. You can kind of get over it or train yourself to not let it affect you pretty easily. But as far as the weight goes between these two, these shells weigh 110 grams, and these shells weigh about 240 or 250 grams, so just about half the weight. And this plastic housing is what makes all the difference, pretty much. Let me go ahead and grab the projectiles real quick. Here's what they look like. And let me grab one out. You obviously get 10 in the box if you order them separate. They sell a kit where you get 8 of the shells and one of the launching, 8 of the projectiles and one of the launching shells, but price-wise, it actually works out a little bit better in your favor if you order them separately. You get a couple more. You get a couple more shots for a very minimized cost. But here's the projectile itself. You'll see it's got the male portion of the rifling that goes into those grooves on the projectile. Bottom's got a little concave, and I'll show you that in a second how that integrates with the shell. Top portion is a white polyurethane based foam. It's kind of similar to similar to styrofoam. It's not going to be as squishy or as easily compressible as styrofoam, but it's that same type of chemical substance, that polystyrene type foam. As far as, go grab this shell again, I'll show you how the shell itself comes apart. Just unscrew this portion, obviously. That's the rifle part. Now this, I assume they're going to probably sell these later on in the future as replacement parts, because don't get me wrong, it's a very sturdy plastic. I'm not gripping it as hard as I possibly can, but I'm giving some force and it's not flexing or anything like that. But obviously accidents can happen. It's not going to break on you during normal use, but accidents can happen. You could drop it, someone could step on it, drop it out of a building, drop it on a hard concrete or something like that, and it could definitely break or fracture or whatever. Obviously, metal's going to be way more durable. You drop this, you'll only get a little nick in it, as long as you don't drop it on any threads or any important stuff. But I'm going to put that down. There's the business end of it. That's where your gas goes as usual. Get a little close up. It's kind of nice about these. They actually include a nice O-ring out of the box. A lot of companies don't do it anymore because they just figure you're going to put your own in, or they figure people don't really mind that little gas spewing problem that you get normally when you fill them up. Personally, I hate that. I always add O-rings to my stuff, so it's just kind of nice. I don't have to do that on this one, at least until it pops out and I have to replace it myself. But the plunger system, same as usual. It's got a pretty light, I guess you say, activation or what have you, compared to a normal type. Like this one, you can actually activate with your hand. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do that because it serves no purpose. But this one, you can activate with your finger without having to have any tooling like that, or have it in the launcher itself. Whereas I've noticed the other types, you definitely got to either have it in your hand and put some serious force behind it, or have a tool or have it in the launcher to activate it. Whereas this is kind of a little bit easier. But there's the concave portion I was talking about, and I'll show you. What gives these grenades their immense accuracy and overall effective range and distance is the fact that once this plunger is depressed and this valve opens, when this portion here mates up with that, you're pretty much getting almost a perfect energy transfer to send this shell spinning down the exterior of the shell there. And that to me is pretty cool. They've definitely thought this out very well, and definitely integrated it pretty much perfectly, in my opinion, at least. But to give you a quick comparison as far as the weight goes on these two, these shells weigh 24 grams, and these come in at 27. So these are slightly heavier. These are going to be a little bit, lighter flying through the air, which is obviously a good thing for safety, of course. I've been hit with these several times out of several different launchers. Headshots, direct body shots in the back and the rear and the legs, what have you. I would say a lot of people are going to say these present a safety risk, but to be honest, no more of a safety risk than any sort of Nerf football that people have been using and launching at vehicles or sometimes even at people for several years. So I mean, for the people that are going to say these are going to present a safety risk, I'd say that's definitely not really a factor there. The company themselves, Tag, makes several other different shells. This is the dummy pecker shell, they call it, like a woodpecker sort of. Kind of a weird name, but that's what they call it. These are meant to be training rounds, so essentially to kind of get yourself used to the system, how the trajectory of the shell launches and flies through the air, to kind of sort of step up to their more expensive, more kind of one-use type shells. They sell another one that has a yellow head, just like this, a yellow conical shaped head, that they call their Reaper grenade, I believe it's called. And those are the ones that are filled with a few BBs, and upon launch they have a 3-second fuse that's internally built and internally done and controlled. So once it's launched, it's got 3 seconds of flight time, essentially, or 3 seconds if you shoot it at the ground, I guess, but 3 seconds of time before it explodes, and it expels the BBs everywhere. They have another one, a blue type one, that has a rounded head on it. That is their Paladin grenade, and that's also a one-off use grenade. It has a very thin, same type of polystyrene foam capsule on it, that blue capsule. And inside of there is filled with orange chalk for marking targets. So essentially, if you want to shoot at a building or a wall, or that you want to mark for a mission or an objective, what have you, or for the games that require or offer the use of vehicles for military simulation kind of stuff, you can use that as a sort of proof that you hit it. Obviously, with Nerf footballs, with these, it's basically on the honor system, but with something like that, you hit them with a little bit of chalk, it's not going to damage your vehicle, it's going to wipe off, and it's going to provide the proof that you need that you actually did hit that vehicle. So that's kind of cool. The third type that they currently offer is their, I believe it's called an Archangel shell. Same type of color. It's white like this. It has that same rounded globe head that the Paladin has. Only that is an impact grenade, so it's going to be the same thing. It's going to fly through the air, and once the grenade itself impacts a hard target or object, it will set off an internal fuse, and that will explode on impact. They market those for CQB use. You can kind of shoot into a room as sort of a launchable flashbang grenade. Kind of cool. And later on down the road, they are also planning on coming out with a launchable smoke round, which will be pretty cool as well. No name or no price or release on that as well. But yeah, as far as these go, these are the dummy pecker grenades. I've gone ahead and I've tested them a couple times around the house here, and I will say they are pretty awesome. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a full-fledged kind of range test tomorrow in a game we got here going. So I'll go ahead and I'll test these tomorrow for you, and we'll do a second half of this video showing them with a couple different launchers as well. But we'll go ahead and just finish this one up real quick to show you how to load. It's pretty simple as how it loads, but just to show you. Go ahead and obviously secure that back on. As far as loading, you just gotta kind of put it in, start the threads a little bit, and just press it down with your thumb there, and you're good to go. Gassing it up, these take green gas, propane, as well as CO2. I know a couple tests around the house I did were with propane, or aka green gas, and the power or the distance that I got that was more than enough in my opinion. So with CO2, I can only imagine how far these could really fly. I've got a CO2 adapter. We might try it out tomorrow. I'm not really sure. I don't really want to push the limits of the grenade just yet. I kind of want to get my use out of it before I kind of start tinkering with higher power gas, but we'll kind of play that by ear, and I'll let you know on that. But yeah, that's pretty much the grenade itself. All I can do show you right now, at least. What I'll do is I'll cut this right now, and real quick I'll show you how to pop it into the M203 launcher back there, and I'll show you that little thing I was talking about with the extra length here. Hopefully it's something that they might fix in a version 2 grenade, because it is a little bit quirky when loading and unloading the grenade. It's something that you've got to learn how to kind of get past. But like I said, it's not a big deal. You can learn pretty quick. So I'll go ahead and cut this, and I'll show you how to pop it in the launcher. Alright, what's up guys? Let me go ahead and show you how to pop these into the launcher real quick. Go ahead and do the standard type first here. Obviously, everything as usual. Pop it in, close it up. You'll notice that when you go to remove these, I'll show you here, how that can fall free like so. When you place it in as if it's loaded, it's also got maybe, what, an extra 2 centimeters to an inch of free fall room. And you'll see, to kind of better illustrate that, I'll load it reverse. You'll see how that isn't the case with the tag grenade. So these, you got to make sure that when you load them, you got to load them from the front. And what I've noticed is you can't simply just jam them in the into the launcher as you normally would, because they don't have that rounded tip. They have an open tip that can get caught. So if I can get it close here, put this shell down. That will get caught onto these 2 little silver tabs here. And these tabs are meant to kind of provide you an extra bit of tension or security once the breech is fully locked down, and they pretty much lock or fit into these little side grooves here. Now, if you leave those in your launcher, some guys don't have them in there. I'm going to go ahead and do a test with them. Well, actually, I take that back. I've already done tests with them in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test with them out tomorrow, and we're going to see if the launcher functions using this grenade as it should. It obviously functions fine with them in, as that's their intended purpose. But to make loading a little bit easier, I'm going to test them with them out. But if you leave them in, it's not that big of a deal. You just got to load from the bottom. You got to remember to kind of keep it in there. Or I'm sorry, when you go to insert the shell, you got to sort of press the tabs to their, to their side, and then kind of rock it in as usual. Once you get used to it, it's not a really big deal, but just kind of something to be wary of. Something that hopefully they'll fix in a as far as the length goes, that is. They can't fix the width, but it's something they'll fix lengthwise in maybe a version 2 grenade. But now when you go to unload it, you also got to be careful, because if you fully push the breech forward like so, it starts to hang, and it has that little bit of extra length that we were showing you, and it doesn't want to drop free. So you got to end up wiggling it free, or you got to end up somehow getting it loose any sort of other way than what's intended. But like I said, when you go to unload it, the best way I found is to simply open it up. Instead of pulling the breech all the way forward, just enough to where you can start pushing the shell back into the breech again. Yeah, you'll see, like so, and then going ahead and removing it that way. So like I said, it's just a little bit of an extra step. It's not a big deal, but just something that you kind of got to get used to. But aside from that, that's pretty much how they load and how they operate. And what we'll go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and I'll add the second half of the test video to this as well once we shoot it tomorrow, and we'll pretty much go from there. But if you got any comments or questions or what have you, just go ahead and post them up, and we'll get to them as quick as we can. Thanks, guys. Alright guys, we got the shooting test of these 40 mil grenades. We're going to have Ryan doing the 203 first. I've gone ahead and removed the 2 metal clips, and we're going to try that, and then we're going to have John shoot his 320 and see how that goes. Alright Ryan, go ahead. Alright, we got Dan out there at 75 yards. Looks like it went over his head. We're going to go ahead and cut it, and I'll bring back the 320 in a second. Alright guys, we got the 320 now. Go ahead, John. Let's see where Dan got it at. Looks like it's going over his head by a pretty good ways. Alright, we'll go ahead and cut it, and we'll do the last one, the M79 little pirate gun. Alright, last up we got the M79. Go ahead, Ryan. Nice. Looks like that went clear over his head by a long shot. Alright, that'll wrap it up. Thanks, guys. Alright, guys, we got a bonus here for you. Sean's volunteered to get shot by the shell, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Go ahead, Ryan. Thanks, Sean.